In the shadows of American history lies a story of a government at war with its own people. A clandestine campaign known as COINTELPRO. The counterintelligence program, or COINTELPRO, was the FBI's secret weapon, forged in the crucible of Cold War paranoia. Officially initiated in 1956, its roots stretched back even further, into the fervent anti-communist crusades following World War II. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, a man obsessed with perceived threats to the American way of life, was the program's architect. Hoover's vision for COINTELPRO was not merely to surveil, but to actively neutralize political dissidents. The program's mandate was broad and its authority immense, operating outside the bounds of public knowledge or judicial review. The initial targets were the Communist Party USA, which Hoover viewed as a subversive force controlled by Moscow. Agents were instructed to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of these groups. The methods employed were insidious and varied, forming a dark playbook of psychological warfare. One common tactic was the use of informants, who would infiltrate organizations and sow seeds of discord. Bowering, denunciar, discord. These informants not only gathered intelligence but actively provoked paranoia and internal conflict. The FBI also created and mailed forged correspondence to create rifts between leaders of activist groups. Anonymous letters filled with false accusations were sent to members' spouses, employers, and friends. The goal was to destroy personal relationships and professional lives, thereby crippling the movements from within. As the 1960s dawned, the scope of COINTELPRO expanded dramatically, mirroring the social upheaval of the era. The civil rights movement, with its powerful call for justice and equality, became a primary target. Hoover harbored a deep-seated animosity towards Martin Luther King Jr., viewing him as a dangerous radical. The FBI relentlessly wiretapped King's phones, bugged his hotel rooms, and followed his every move. They sought to uncover any personal failings that could be used to discredit him and undermine his moral authority. In a particularly vile act, the FBI sent King an anonymous letter suggesting he take his own life. This letter was accompanied by audio recordings, obtained through illegal surveillance, of his alleged extramarital affairs. The FBI's war on King was a testament to the program's willingness to cross any ethical or legal line. Other civil rights groups, such as the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, (SNCC), were also heavily targeted. The FBI worked to exacerbate tensions between more moderate and more radical factions within the movement. The rise of the Black Power movement provided Hoover with a new, and, in his eyes, more menacing enemy. The Black Panther Party, with its message of self-defense and revolutionary socialism, became public enemy number one. COINTELPRO actions against the Panthers were particularly aggressive and often violent. The FBI created and distributed inflammatory cartoons and pamphlets to discredit the Panthers and the black community. They forged letters to create deadly conflicts between the Panthers and other black nationalist groups. This tactic, known as black nationalist hate, led directly to violence and murder. The most infamous example was the FBI's role in instigating a shootout at UCLA that left 2 Panthers dead. Informant William O'Neill provided the FBI with a detailed floor plan of Panther leader Fred Hampton's apartment. This information was used to facilitate a pre-dawn raid by Chicago police in December 1969. Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were killed in the raid, a brutal act that many have labeled an assassination. Hampton, a charismatic and brilliant organizer, was only 21 years old at the time of his death. His killing sent a chilling message to activists across the country about the lengths the government would go to. The anti-Vietnam War movement also became a major focus for COINTELPRO operations. The FBI sought to portray anti-war activists as un-American, cowardly, and controlled by foreign communists. Agents infiltrated student groups like the Students for a Democratic Society, SADS. They encouraged violent tactics to discredit the movement and provide a pretext for police crackdowns. The FBI spread rumors that prominent anti-war leaders were secretly government informants. This created a climate of intense paranoia that crippled organizing efforts. COINTELPRO also targeted the American Indian movement, AIM, which fought for Native American rights. The FBI's actions on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation were particularly destructive. The program armed and supported a private tribal militia that terrorized AIM supporters. This period, known as the Reign of Terror, saw dozens of AIM members and supporters murdered. The Puerto Rican independence movement was another long-standing target of FBI disruption. Groups like the Young Lords were infiltrated and subjected to the same divisive tactics used against other movements. Even the women's liberation movement was placed under FBI surveillance. The FBI feared that feminist groups would challenge traditional social structures. The program's reach was astonishingly broad, encompassing socialists, environmentalists, and even librarians. Anyone who questioned the status quo could potentially find themselves in COINTELPRO's crosshairs. The program operated in total secrecy for 15 years, its existence unknown to the American public. The end began on March 8, 1971, with a daring act of civil disobedience. A group of activists calling themselves the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI broke into a small FBI office in Media, Pennsylvania. They stole every file in the office, a massive trove of secret documents. As they sorted through the files, they found evidence of a widespread, illegal surveillance program. It was the first time the word COINTELPRO had been seen outside the Bureau. The activists began leaking the documents to journalists, who were initially skeptical. However, the authenticity of the files was undeniable, and the story began to emerge. The revelations from the media break-in sent shockwaves through the nation. Public outcry and congressional pressure mounted, forcing the government to investigate. In 1975, the Senate launched a committee, chaired by Senator Frank Church, to investigate abuses by intelligence agencies. The Church Committee's hearings laid bare the shocking details of COINTELPRO for all to see. FBI agents testified about forging documents, inciting violence, and conducting illegal surveillance. The committee's final report condemned COINTELPRO as a sophisticated vigilante operation. The report concluded that the FBI had acted to undermine the constitutional rights of American citizens. In the wake of the scandal, Attorney General Edward Levy issued new guidelines to limit FBI activities. COINTELPRO was officially terminated, but its legacy casts a long shadow. The program successfully destroyed or crippled numerous activist organizations. It fostered a deep and lasting distrust between activists and law enforcement. The lives of countless individuals were ruined through false accusations and psychological harassment. The full extent of the damage caused by COINTELPRO may never be truly known. Many of the files related to the program remain classified or were destroyed. The story of COINTELPRO serves as a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked government power. It demonstrates how easily the tools of national security can be turned against a nation's own citizens. The program targeted not just actions, but ideas, in an attempt to enforce a narrow definition of Americanism. It sought to silence dissent and crush movements that challenged the existing social and political order. The tactics of COINTELPRO, once exposed, became a blueprint for what democratic governments must avoid. Yet, concerns about similar government overreach persist to this day. The debate over the balance between national security and civil liberties continues. COINTELPRO's history underscores the vital importance of transparency and accountability in government. It highlights the courage of the whistleblowers and journalists who brought the truth to light. The activists of the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI were never caught. Their actions, though illegal, were instrumental in ending a dark chapter in American history. The legacy of the movements targeted by COINTELPRO is one of resilience and perseverance. Despite the immense pressure, they continue their fight for a more just and equitable society. The program's goal was to neutralize them, but their ideas and influence ultimately endured. Remembering COINTELPRO is not about dwelling on the past, but about safeguarding the future. It is a reminder that vigilance is the price of liberty. The secret war waged by the FBI against its own citizens remains a cautionary tale for all democracies. The program's existence was a betrayal of the very principles the nation claimed to uphold. It revealed a deep-seated fear of social change within the halls of power. The FBI's actions were not those of a rogue agency, but were approved at the highest levels. This systemic nature made the program all the more dangerous and difficult to expose. The use of psychological tactics was particularly damaging, leaving invisible scars. Friendships were shattered, marriages destroyed, and communities torn apart by suspicion. The FBI effectively weaponized the most intimate aspects of people's lives against them. The program's impact on the trajectory of social movements is a subject of ongoing debate. Some argue it successfully delayed or dismantled progress for a generation. Others contend that it inadvertently strengthened the resolve of activists. The story of Fred Hampton's Rainbow Coalition is a case in point. Hampton was building alliances between the Panthers, poor whites, and Latino gangs. This cross-racial class solidarity was precisely what Hoover feared the most. Hampton's murder was a direct response to his effectiveness as a unifier. The FBI's own documents reveal their fear of a black messiah who could unify the masses. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Fred Hampton were all viewed through this lens. The program's focus was on preventing the rise of such a charismatic leader. The use of agents provocateurs was a key element in discrediting peaceful protests. These agents would incite violence to justify a heavy-handed police response. The media would then report on the violent protesters, playing into the FBI's narrative. This manipulation of public perception was a central pillar of COINTELPRO's strategy. The program also involved illegal break-ins, known as black bag jobs, to gather intelligence. These operations were conducted without warrants and were a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. The FBI created fake activist groups to lure in and identify dissidents. These phantom organizations would publish extremist rhetoric to discredit the entire movement. The targeting of the Socialist Workers' Party went on for decades, a relentless campaign of harassment. The party's offices were burglarized, its members fired from jobs, and its campaigns disrupted. The lawsuit filed by the COINTELPRO against the FBI in the 1970s helped expose many COINTELPRO details. The court case ultimately found the government guilty of decades of illegal activity. The financial cost of COINTELPRO was significant, diverting resources from actual criminal investigations. But the moral and social costs were immeasurably higher. The program represented a profound failure of democratic institutions to protect dissent. It showed that even in a democracy, the state can become an instrument of repression. The lessons of COINTELPRO are embedded in the ongoing struggle for civil rights and liberties. It serves as a permanent reminder of the need for citizen oversight of intelligence agencies. The hidden agenda was clear: to maintain the existing power structure at any cost. It was a war not against foreign enemies, but against the very idea of a more inclusive America. The program's architects saw social progress as a threat to national security, They confused conformity with patriotism and dissent with treason. The fight for justice requires not only challenging unjust laws, but also exposing secret wars. COINTELPRO's history is a vital part of the American story, a chapter that must never be forgotten. The program's shadow reaches into the modern era, influencing contemporary surveillance practices. Understanding this past is essential to navigating the challenges to freedom in the 21st century. The war on activists was a war on the future, an attempt to stop history in its tracks. Ultimately, the river of change could not be contained.